All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to 7 Day Worship. My name is Klocek. I have been a worship leader for a long time, and I'm also a Christian entrepreneur. And I'm here with my friend today, Kris. Kris, how you doing?
Hey, good afternoon or good evening if you're in Central or further east.
100%. Kris, what is it that you do, man?
Well, I'm trying to figure it out, but I really am passionate. I mean, about playing music, but playing music under the Lord and raising up worshipers who feel the same, starting not with their gifting, but their identity.
Ooh, like that. Not with her gifting, but with her identity.
Yep,
Or as we would probably say on this show all the time, about their heart posture.
exactly.
Uh,
Heart posture forms identity.
Love it. All right. Well, speaking on that, tonight we're just going to kind of hang out and try this new format out. We're trying to just still kind of get the vibe more because at this point I'm getting a little bit stressed on time, and I also love just shooting the breeze. And so being able to just hang out and not be so structured has just been really releasing and kind of fun. So
And
Kris, I'm just
remember that's how this started, right? And
yeah, exactly.
has it been almost a year? I'd have to look at a calendar, but I think we started talking weekly on Mondays last August.
Oh, since
Yeah,
you and I started talking,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. And then it was like, hey, you were talking about eventually on the podcast. Let's just put these things online, and then we started
Yeah.
getting structured and all that, which brings stress and deadlines. But I'm all
Yep.
for it. I'm all for honest, spontaneous conversations. Maybe it's not the best television, but
I think it's going to be great. So for me, it works, especially in this season. And so in that theme of everything, that when we started talking, one of the things that you and I were uh, really kindred about was this. We both led worship and we both got into ministry in different ways, and both still do similar things, and have a heart for training people up in that world. And so I wanted today just to throw the question out there for worship leader training, because I'm starting to get really into that. I've got a whole slew of students I'm going to be helping out here over the next couple of months with a new, uh, by the way, guys, win the week, something that we're going to be talking about. I'd love to geek out about it a little bit more, but trying to help people who are maybe not managing their time the best to be able to spend more time on people and less time on planning and processes, and mostly just by giving them some structure. And so that's what I'm getting really geeky into. And in that world, I just like to hear from you. I'd like to geek out about it a little bit too. What's maybe two or three things that you wish somebody told you or you wish you knew when you got into leading worship? And it could be anything. So it could be spiritual, it could be practical, it could be production side or musically. It doesn't really matter, but maybe what's two or three different things? We'll take them one at a time and just kind of hang out and talk about those.
you're asking me that. You're asking that question of me, not of our viewers.
Well, of
Right?
course, we're going to ask them too. I actually posted a LinkedIn post, said, "What's one
Yeah.
thing that you guys wish you knew?" And so, if I get anything there, then I'll throw them out. Of course, maybe next week.
I think they're okay. Man, this is a good question. When you texted this earlier, I'm like, oh man, I can answer this. At some point tonight, I want to talk about. So you're calling me a worship leader, which some people could be like, oh, he has an acoustic guitar or piano and he sings great. Which no, I have no gift in singing. I'm a drummer. So like the dynamic of when we say worship leader, like the traditional lead singer, band leader, and a worship leader, like where I do think I fall in that category, but I'm not administrating. I'm not like, so I think there's something about different goals or different perspectives in that we should talk about later. Okay,
Oh,
so
be great.
when someone asks me that I've never met and they're like, so I have a nonprofit to do what I described 5 minutes ago. essentially it's discipleship and forming the heart and helping kids. Everyone's a kid to me now, you know. But what I say to help explain it is I want to be the person my 17-year-old self didn't know they needed or wanted. And so this is a really good question for that topic, because that's a little atmospheric, esoteric, oh, ambient, but yours like puts a pinpoint on it. Like, what is the thing you wish? And I'm like, man, I don't know if I've thought about it like that. I think the number one thing I would say, and I would say I'm going to answer in the negative because I don't know how to say what I want, but what I feel now, wish I would have knew then, is like the sun. Let's say most of this we're talking about is the Sunday morning experience, probably, right?
Yeah.
Where you're leading or playing music in a church service with a time limit and parameters and all that. And I was also growing up, I was playing like a typical thing in my, like, from like age 18 to age 32 for me was like on a Saturday night, I would have a gig and we're loading out at like 1:30 or 2 in the morning from a club or a bar or a coffee shop or like a venue, right? That was not in a church. Sometimes it was a churchy venue. But I wasn't necessarily playing in Christian bands or would be Sunday morning worship music. And so I'd be loading out at 2 a.m., hitting the hay at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, waking up for a 7:30 for like an 8 o'clock call on Sunday morning. So I was active using like the drumming gift in both worlds. And what there was a super disconnect for me at that age when, like, you know, when in your late teens and early 20s, or how I say it, like when someone's coming into their gift, right? They're ripe. They're ripe for wisdom. They're ripe for instruction, and even if they don't know it, they think they know everything. But there was this disconnect with me between like how serious we take the music. So in the quote secular venue, the club venue is code club versus church. In club venue, like we were practicing 3 to 5 nights a week. We were prior practicing 14 hours for every hour we were on stage. Like as a band, you're practicing the song. You play the song 9 times. And then you play the next song 9 times. And then tomorrow night we'll play the next 2 songs 5 to 6 times. And then the night before you play the set list 4 times in a row back to back. And then what I noticed the church world didn't do that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what do we like? But on the same token, and this is what I maybe I wish they would have said to me, but I don't know how they would have said it. Like, we were taking church so seriously, like almost for the wrong reasons. And it felt to me like church, having the music was so important. And like, we're just praying for the set list from the Lord all week. And like, oh God, what are the songs you want us to copy? What are the like? We're essentially a casino cover band that never practices. So whatever is popular on the charts and on Christian radio and Christian music back then, it was Vineyard. Like, you know, Vineyard Music Group was huge. So like, we're gonna do our best to imitate this song. However, we are not going to practice. Like,
right.
Like, so it was like this weird, like, guys, and I'm thinking like, if we really want to do that, should we practice or should we? And it was all like, Holy Spirit, God's gonna lead us. Like, this bass player, he's actually never played bass before, but he's gonna sit in. And so like there was like this like, it was like all serious all through the week, and you might have a Thursday night practice, and it was like, oh, we're just gonna trust the Lord. He's gonna tell us what to play, and like, enhance our abilities. But I wish I would have known not to take it, put so much spiritual weight on the Sunday morning, if that makes sense. Or like all the weight on Sunday morning was for the wrong reasons. And it was like if we just pray but don't practice, if we just pray but don't read our Bibles, if we just pray but like in the worst case cheat on our wives and get drunk every night, as long as we're praying for God to help us at 10 a.m. on Sunday, it's going to work out. And so it was like this disconnect about doing music good without practicing or taking the music seriously and act like we're disciples.
Mm.
And I wish there would have been someone to be like, hey, we're doing the best we can with what we have. How are you? What is your heart posture during the week? Because let me just tell you flat out, we're not going to take this seriously. We're not going to practice. Anybody can play as long as they can show up.
Mm-hmm.
And so just relax on your musical excellence and just like, hey, let's talk about the Lord every day. Like
Yeah.
I'm not answering the question, but I wish there would have been someone that would have said your heart posture before the Lord is the most important thing. And this is
Mm-hmm.
not a performance, and we're not trying to be awesome, because it was like we're trying to be musically excellent, but there was no action to back that up. And I wish they would have just said, hey, the whole musical thing to us is just a performance and a joke. Forget about it. Just focus on your heart before the Lord. And by the way, I'm going to bring 20 people out to the club on Saturday night to support you.
Right. Right. Wow. No, that's great. I mean, the
And I'm
first
not
time
saying
that
that's every
this,
worship leader or that's your experience, but that was just mine. Like, guys, we're not really doing music seriously, so let's just say we're not and be fine with that.
right. Yeah. I mean, I remember the first church that I was leading in, when I used to have this habit, and I think I carried it through all the way until my maybe 10th year of leading. So, like, for the first decade of leading, there was this ritual that I would do every single, and it was by myself, and that's the thing I regret on it. But I would go behind stage, just in this little closet. It was a smaller church, so they had like this little closet to prep if you had to get
Cool.
changed real fast for baptism or something. That was side stage. I would go over there. I would just kneel down on a chair, and I would just pray, try to get my heart right a few minutes before service started, and then I would take my shoes off and I would go on stage, and people would make fun of me all the time for having my shoes off.
The barefoot
And
guy, or do you wear
well,
socks?
I mean, I wore socks. I wasn't like that. I wasn't Rich
Athletic
Mullins
socks or dress
completely.
socks? Dress socks or athletic socks?
Athletic, athletic.
Oh
I couldn't
boy.
wear them.
Oh boy.
Okay. But they were black athletic
Oh.
socks. I tried to balance it out. So, but yeah, I mean, I would go up there without shoes, and to me, that was getting my heart right. It was the Moses thing. Like, okay, I'm taking the sandals off. This is your place right now. Doing this for you, and so that was like the ritual that I would have, and then I would find,
It's a prophetic act
yeah,
of
yeah,
your heart.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I like that.
Exactly. And so that was something I used to do constantly. I wish somebody would have told me the importance of bringing the team in on that experience at the beginning. And it took about 6 years for me to start doing that. And somebody finally brought it up. Another worship leader that I had never met before, it was like, "What do you do with your team before?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing, like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's 6 years.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't do anything with my team. What is that? And
That is that
um,
is that is important.
oh, so important. So it was just pray, man. Just pray with your team. That's it. Just pray with them. And so I started doing that, bringing them in on that little ritual that I would do, and just trying to get the heart right before we would go up there. And it's fantastic. You started seeing the team kind of vibing together. I like the idea of what you're saying though with this call it what it is. Like this isn't uh, this isn't us trying to be the most professional musicians. nor I think in most cases should it ever be,
Hmm.
because you're dealing with people who are not professionals for the vast majority of churches out there, who never aspire to be professionals. They're just kind of hobbyists who are hanging out together.
And
Um,
I do understand that dynamic now more than when I was starting, for sure.
well, what was the dynamic with you guys? What was the majority of people who you played with? Pros, not
Oh
semi.
no, 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 not pros at all. There would be like, maybe a dude that was in his bar band in a bar band in the '70s and was like say that's usually the bass player, right?
Right,
Can
bass
show up
player or
and hold,
drummer.
yeah, can show up and hold it down. But like there was like it was like the people leading. I need to be sensitive. You'll kind of I mean, like the people leading that were charged what we would probably call a musical director now were like the
Mhm.
least experienced musical person
Mm. Hmm.
in the group, and so it was kind of like they didn't talk the language, but they were trying, and so there was just a disconnect of like, um, man, this could be so good, or like the talent around you could be. Um, you had players that could deliver what you wanted if you knew how to say what you wanted, like kind of a thing. Like,
Yeah.
but it would be spiritualized, and so like say musical ignorance or musical versus have just said, "Hey guys, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, here's the point. I know I know you guys." And that would take because when I think about being frustrated, and there were definitely times more when I was younger, of
Hmm.
it'd be because I'd be like, guys, this isn't how you do a band. Like you practice and you rehearse and like that's and you run through a song once and the leader goes, "Oh, great," and everyone's like, "No, that wasn't that wasn't great at all." Like um, so it's almost like maybe here's the answer. I wish the person would say, "Hey, Kris, don't take it so seriously," or "Heads up, you're going to take this so much more seriously than than the relative things, and that's
Hmm.
okay. And actually, that's a great thing." Because I was told, "Oh, it's an idol to you." It's like, no, it's not an idol. It's like, it's like if you were asked to preach in America and you got up and you were preaching German,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
your slides need to be German, everything's German. Like, so when I'm sitting there in the band, I'm like you guys are talking German. You need to talk the musical language, And I think if someone had been by my side and be like, "Hey, relax, man, I see you. It's all good. Just bring 10%. Just bring ten
Mm.
percent and focus on the heart." And so somehow they could have guided me through that because I was getting confused on, we're bringing an excellent offering to the Lord, and we're gonna excellence, and I'm like, this is terrible, actually.
So that's one of the things, right? So excellence. I feel like that sometimes can be
It's
like
relative. It's relative on who's saying it, right? Yeah,
and it's, I don't know, like I've been a part of a few churches, and that phrase I feel like people throw around a lot. I'll
totally.
give you this example. I was talking to this pastor the other day, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, what is the thing in your worship service? Like, how would you describe it? How is it right now? What are you guys looking for?" Because he was trying to like get some like help, to like move things in an upward trajectory. I said, "How would you describe it for me?" And what he said was, he said, "I don't know if this is going to make sense. It just overall, it just needs to be elevated." And his worship like leader was on the call, and I see him kind of like, like trying to figure out what his pastor means when he hears that. So it needs to be elevated. And it's like, okay, that's super broad. Help me out, brother. Like, and so I just said to him, can you try to pinpoint what you mean when you say it needs to be elevated? And he started getting into these details of subjective uh, reasoning of saying things like, well, you know it when you hear it. There's just something about it. You feel it in the room.
Yeah, and
Um,
that doesn't work for artists.
oh, it's terrible. And it's like the audio guy who hears his pastor say it's too loud, and the pastor just doesn't know how to express that the sound is hurting me somehow because the frequency is too high, or it's like the snare drum has like this weird harmonic that's just hurting me. And so they say it's too loud, but you can't really pinpoint what they mean by that, so you can't really fix it. And so I guess the exercise for that is, when people are saying, this is supposed to be excellent. You hear pastors say it, you hear worship leaders say it, you hear church congregants say it. What do they mean by excellent? What's the standard of excellence? And what does the Bible have to say about excellence when it comes to our worship for the Lord? And I think that's where you kind of start, right? You say, okay, what does it say? What does it say for us to worship the Lord, and what is excellent? Because the most excellent thing you see in the Bible probably is that you're supposed to bring a broken and contrite heart, humble heart to Him. And I think that's the qualifier for excellence when it comes to worship in general, that you need to come with humility. You need to come with all of your stuff, let it out, and lay it down. I think that's it. But it has nothing really to do with excellence of music, although we do see Psalms kind of pushing that, and so there's good arguments for that. But if somebody can't play, man, what do you do? Like, does it mean karaoke church? For music wise for people, or is maybe music not just the
Well,
sum of the whole thing? Anyways,
yeah. So okay, when we say excellence, yeah, we might have talked about this when we discussed production and lights and smoke machine, right?
mm-hmm.
Like if you're okay, so if you're Forrest Frank, and I have some friends connected to that scene, like that's one kind of expression. Like that's not in a church. It's like, hey, this is actually entertainment. We're playing in an arena. We're worshiping the Lord. But it's like this. People are paying tickets. They expect a show. Like that's an element. But when you're talking like on a Sunday morning church service, and I'm not anti-fog machine, anti-lights in a church. However, I think it takes a real calling and grace. Like it's not for everyone. I don't think that's what churches should necessarily be copying. And so to me, like this is a question. Excellence. Is excellence actually authenticity?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think there's a grid or there's a matrix at some point. Like I was even talking to a friend today about say like new Christians, right? How long should someone be following the Lord before you open the avenue to be on stage at a church? Like
Yeah.
what do they need? Like what is? And I mowed the lawn today. We got 5 acres. It's when I do it, I usually do it on Mondays. Mondays because of my admin kind of TikTok or check it off days.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mowing and I thought, is it not necessarily a time, but it depends on who's around them.
Okay.
Right. So like you could have a case, someone saved and delivered, and the next week, if they had the right person with them and the right shepherd to coach them through it, they could possibly be on stage that week, playing a new song of the Lord. Their heart is now energized, and I don't, it's probably case by case, right? It's a conversation with that person. And then, you got to sometimes move slowly. But when I say authentic, because you could have, okay, how long have they known the Lord? And how long have they been pursuing this gift? How long have they been playing the drums? Did they just said, hey, I decide I'm going to play the drums? Great, put them on stage. They've been a Christian 20 years. That's
Yeah.
probably not going to work in most cases. But
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, the question I have around authenticity is, you referenced pride, humility, right? What would you
Yeah.
say? Humility, contrite.
Yeah, contrite heart. Yeah.
So if you are on stage and let's just imagine the worst scenario where they are obviously not contrite. They are completely full of themselves, proud and arrogant, talk down. That probably means, and when I say authentic, I mean Holy Spirit authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
They could be authentic. That is their true self without the Lord.
Yeah.
But if they were claiming they were walking in the Holy Spirit and they're giving off all that things, I would say that is not an authentic expression of their heart in step and aligned with the Holy Spirit and their Father. So that's what I mean by authentic. So like, but if you have that person that is authentic, they're honestly pursuing the Lord, they are growing. They might be in first grade on their spiritual walk, glory to glory. As we behold him, as we stare at him, we change from glory to glory. That kind of implies growth in stages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone that is saved and delivered tonight might be delivered from heroin, might be delivered from the drug addiction, but no matter what you could say tomorrow, it's like they are in kindergarten on the spiritual walk, day one, right? And so, but I think you could have someone that is second or third or fourth grade. Maybe I say opposite. They are like PhD spiritually. They've been walking with the Lord for 20 years, but they might be new to a musical gift, but they're actively pursuing it. I think that person could be on stage in the right dynamic, in the right leadership. You don't have to be professional to be on stage. Like,
No.
and especially if your leader is leading them well, hey, here's the chords you're playing. You don't have to improvise. You just hold this down for us. It's going to be great, right? And that they could be authentically knowing, I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn spiritually, and I have a lot to learn musically. But if they're being authentic in their spiritual submission, and they're say authentically, so someone that says, oh, I feel a call to this, they are going to take it, they should take it seriously, and they're playing for an hour, they're playing for 4 hours a week, they are authentically pursuing it, versus I say I want this, I want to be on stage, but they've never sang, they don't sing in the shower, they've never put time into develop, like, oh, you have a gift, then you like tell me how you're pursuing that. And
Yeah.
if they really felt that call, they would be authentically going after it in their week, or submitting themselves to a spiritual or musical leader that is helping them on that. That's what I mean by authentic. And so
Yeah.
I think if they're authentically being real in growing spiritually and growing musically, I think it can be good. I mean, I've been in those services where you're like, how is this working? Where you have complete amateurs, someone that just started playing, but God is blessing the unity of the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Did you see the thumbnail that I put together for this one?
I did. It's your handouts are really good. Your, what do you call them? Your screens, your one shots. Your,
Thanks.
nobody
Yeah. So
trained you.
so this guy right here. So what I love about this, this is one of my favorite ways to go to church. You know, with authentic, right? Like it's just this raw, like the image that shares this heart of just do it. You know, just Nike. You know, like just do the thing. Get together, worship the Lord. Stop trying to worry about all the extra fancy stuff.
Folding chairs, like not a clean
Yeah,
stage. Chords are going everywhere. Yeah.
that's right. You're just with each other in the presence of God, and you're doing the thing, right? you don't care about all the other things. And I think I love that of stop trying to make this thing impossible for people to be a part of, by holding this
Yeah.
standard up so high, away from what a family should. Now, again, to your comment earlier, I think there's a place probably for that high value production and everything too. Um, but I mean, how many churches out there, ratio wise, are fitting in that bubble versus the larger church context that are going to do production all out and all that? I think it's harder when you're doing more production to keep that heart posture alive. You've got more facets and more teams that you're trying to do that with simultaneously, and it can be great if you do it right. But it's a lot to manage, and you got to ask yourself the question: what am I managing here? And is it worth it?
Do you think that's tied most often to the size of the church, meaning you have more to draw on, more people?
Yes and no. Absolutely, the larger the church that I've experienced, the more they can, and so they probably do try to produce higher quality stuff, um, because they can also afford people who put more time into it as well, and so
Yeah.
they just typically have a little bit more of that. But I think smaller churches too, it comes down to, well, we need to attract people ultimately, or else we're not going to survive. Like, there's a lot of that mentality of being in a small church where you're hustling, wearing multiple hats, and you forget that the heart of the church is really the people, and just hanging out with the people is more important than trying to be seeker friendly in any way, shape, or form. And so you look to the larger churches to say, hey, how much can we be like them to maybe attract a few more people? You compare yourself a lot more as a smaller church, I would say. As a larger church, you compare yourself less because you don't really need to. But as a smaller church, you're competing a little bit more, maybe. But you're definitely comparing more. Maybe it's the larger churches that compete a little bit more. I don't know. But you're definitely comparing yourself to people and trying to hit standards for some reason. It's a weird thing. And that's probably an artistic thing, too, as a worship leader, where you're always trying to improve. You're trying to, you see something you like, so you try to copy it. Like that, it's not all bad, But I think that if you collaborate with things, comparing yourself's not a problem as long as your heart is in, how can we maybe do something for our culture here? And maybe that's a cool thing that I can bring over here that's going to help this body worship more, But I think if you're going to start with production, people are going to come for the thing that you attracted them there for.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so they'll leave when that's gone, and they'll leave when you leave. And so,
yeah, and I've seen that in several churches, unfortunately.
100%. And so it's, what am I trying to bring to my church more than anything? And I think if you start with that heart of saying, I want people here to grow in their knowledge and their love and their affection for the Lord, and that's where you start. And, forget the production until you get that locked down. If you get that locked down and God blesses the production and you start booming out of there, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I got another way to answer the question.
Yeah.
What I wish someone told me. I wish a guy had stepped into my life, and me and my wife have talked about this because we're talking about in the context of my son and his friends. Like, would have I heard him? Would have I heard? And I think I would have if I would have expressed it like I think is in my head for my son and how I've been talking to my son and his friends. I wish they would have said, like, so if I'm 16, 15, 16, 17, even 18, dude, forget about girls right now. Completely put this out of your mind. And I want you I am going to help you and be all in with you on drums and on the Lord in such a way, like, I am here to load your drums. I am going to buy your drum heads. I am going to, and here's why. Not like it's a ban on girls, but like it's the heart posture. You got the next. Let's say you're going to be married. Maybe you're 22, maybe 24, maybe 25. Bro, you got 6 years. I'm going all in on you on developing your skills and your heart, and whatever we're gonna do with the Lord. I'm gonna like buy your plane tickets. I'm gonna buy your the van. I am going to be your manager, your spiritual guy, and let's go all in on this and not let the girl, the romance, be distracted. Be a distraction.
I mean, you're pumping me up for my kids right
Is
now.
that not practical or what?
That's I love it. You're pumping me up for my kids. Man, that's something I want to say to my kid right now.
And it's not like a rule, like don't dance, don't do drugs. It's like, hey, bro, this is. I'm saying, bro. Like my kids would be like, Dad, you can't say bro, you're too old. But like, I really need you guys to like hear me. This is a rule, but this is such a thing. It's not a rule. It's a frame of thinking, and it's not like go figure it out. It's like, and I want to help you, and I'm gonna help you get there. And here's why. Here's the bigger. They say when you give a no, you gotta have a bigger yes, and not be the pastor's like you stay away from the girl, blah, but then offer the path, and we're gonna figure out your band. We're gonna map out what your dreams are. We're gonna help you get your skills, and don't waste 1 to 4 hours a night for 4 years of your teenage life chasing girls.
Mm.
Like get good at something. Let's build something with purpose. And I know I probably sound like a fuddy-duddy, but like I think I probably would have heard that if like a guy had given me a map and been like overly superly supportive of my musical pursuit, especially. And I think I would have heard that.
Mm. I love that. Yeah. I mean, what was it? There was this one guy, because I think the thing that I carried into leading worship at the very beginning was the heart. So I think that was something I had a lot of capital in. But the thing that I lacked was, and I wish that, and I knew it too, but I wish that somebody pushed harder at with me was, do not let yourself be alone. Do not let yourself be alone. And the reason for that, I mean, there's so many reasons for it, but for me specifically, it was there is such there is such danger that is lurking in the places that you just would never ever think that you were vulnerable in. If you're alone, you're the gazelle hanging out on your own when that lion's looking at the herd. And it doesn't matter how strong you are, if you're isolated, it's not going to be good. And so those are some of the things I wish I heard from some people. And I did hear it, but when I say hear, I'm kind of going back to maybe like the Shema, when the Hebrews said hear, it was an active word. So like in Deuteronomy where it says, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord with all your heart, soul, and might. The word hear is emphatically saying listen to obey. So it's an active, you're not just listening, but you're listening to put it into action.
Yeah.
And so I heard people say that, but man, I didn't hear them,
Yeah.
if I could put it that way.
There is something about hearing that, but then the person saying it has designed the cohort, the plan to say have 4 or 5 dudes. Okay, it could get weird, right? We're all going to live together, but like is like kind of the map and like, okay, here's what we're agreeing with each other. Here's what we're going to do. and putting it around a common purpose, whether it be overseas missions or a band in my context, or like we're going to be serving in some capacity, just like, because those years are so precious, and you like, I tell, some of the teen boys that I talk to, it's like, guys, like from here on out, you'll never have less to do or more time to do it in. Like seize this moment. Like you don't have serious jobs. You don't have like reap the time. Like get good at something. Apply. Learn a skill. Like work under the Lord. Not on, like this. These are prime times. Not that you will regret being married and regret having kids and regret you like think you having a mortgage. It's just like, guys, this is some ripe spiritual formation years, and go after it. It's Psalm 90. No, learn to number our days, and maybe
Yeah.
that's the lesson. Like if there was a guy, a leader telling us, cohort, learn to number your days, and this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to do it together. And maybe we're going to agree in seasons for the next 4 months. For the next 6 months, we're doing this. For the next year, we're giving our lives to something. And I don't know. I wonder what that would be like. Because a common story. I mean, I don't know. Were you high school sweethearts, you and your wife?
Uh, kind of. I mean, no, not in the sense of like growing up together, but
Yeah,
she was part of the. She was finishing high school when I started leading at her church, and so
yeah,
we got to know each other a little bit. I was touring a little bit, and then we finally um, connected when she was starting to graduate, and so yeah, we started dating when she
yeah.
was still in high school a little bit, but
I knew my wife in high school. We weren't a thing till after she had graduated. But like a pretty common, more common than not common story is, you know, you're chasing girls in junior high and high school. You make some bad decisions, have 1, 2, 3, 4 really bad breakups, and then you find the one. Let's just skip all that bad breakups, because you're pursuing romance before your heart is spiritually formed with the Lord. And it's like, let's just skip that. Put your energy into whatever, and then
yeah.
come to that when you've matured a little bit. So, do
But
I
those
get
are
to
where the
ask you a
best
question?
songs come from, Chris. Yeah, you'll get to ask me a
Yeah.
question. But no, I had a terrible breakup when I was in high school. Um, and oh man, I wrote some epic songs about it.
I
Epic.
bet.
And I had this moment. So she worked at a coffee house, right? I'm just gonna share this little bit here. But I wrote this song because she was playing this game, man, where like she's like, I really love you, but I just can't, and I'm just like, man, so I wrote this song where I just poured it all out. So I go and I see her at this coffee house, and she's acting like nothing happened. I got my guitar with me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play this song. So I waited
Oh
till it
boy.
closed. I played this song to her. She's in tears, man, just in tears, just drenched. I'm like, yeah, I succeeded here. And then she gets back together with me for 2 days, and then it's done again. And I was like, all right, that whatever. I got my satisfaction from it, but it was awesome. I mean, it was a great Hallmark movie moment for me. But yeah,
Wow.
if you want to ask a question, I'll give my answer to it.
Um, is there something in you when you've been a leader and let's keep it in the genre we're talking about, say in the church, worship leader or whatever. Is there something you knew you should have said to someone and you didn't? So it's like the reverse that question is that person would be asking, I wish this guy Casey would have told me this, and you actually knew you should have told him and you didn't.
Interesting.
Because you're
I'm drawing
young
a
in
blank.
leadership or not confident? No. Hmm.
I'm drawing a blank on that one, and it's probably just because they haven't told me. Um,
I can change the question.
yeah, yeah, maybe rephrase it a little bit or
So
something.
what's the so if you're seeing things now because you're working with a lot of these people, what is
Hmm.
the common theme that and that leaders in 18, 19, 20 before they're 25, 26, what is something that you need to tell them repeatedly? Like, is there a recurring theme?
Mm. Um, Recurring theme would be one. It's it's about the heart, and it's not so much about the music, like we've been talking about. Two, it's okay to fail.
That's a
I
good
think
one.
people get scared from that all the time. They think they're going to get, I don't know, not replaced or anything, but their pastor's going to get mad or something like that. It's like you got to take risks. You got to be okay to fail. Um, and then the third one is uh, you have more time than you think you do,
Hmm.
and being able to free people up with that. And that one honestly was something that I didn't expect at all, but it just keeps coming up. It just people think they have no time, and they don't. And so let me be clear on that: they don't have time, but it's just because they don't have a system. And so what I love to hear in the training sessions that I'm a part of is when people say, oh, duh, like they just like hit themselves in the head, and that makes so much sense. Why did I not think of that? Because they probably have thought of it before. They just haven't put it in, or they haven't connected the dots before. And most of it has to do with time management, which is just odd. I never thought that I would be training people as much as I am about time management because I'm not a great time management person. But just a simple process helps you so much to focus on the things that matter,
Hmm.
and that's where you get to unleash the other pieces, like the heart of it, and taking risks and experimenting with something, and being okay with failing. It all starts with being prepared and having something locked down so that you can take those chances and spend time with people and spend time with the Lord and all that stuff. But yeah, I would say that's kind of what I get. I think that time thing is the biggest one. It unlocks all those other things. How about you?
Well, the time thing, yeah. I mean, I think I would agree with it because in general, people that would be drawn to this position are going to be a combination of probably collaborative people. They want to lead people. They want to be people. They want to be part of a team, and
Mm-hmm.
also they are leaning more artistic than not.
Yep.
And as a meme generality, a lot of those kinds of people aren't organized. The free spirit, the artistic, uh, makes them maybe more free spirit than others. Like they
Mm-hmm.
want to do whatever, go wherever, and like when you're with people, it's like, oh, people, woo, or team, yeah, woo, and
Yeah.
I'm being very generalized, of course, but like when you're having those people, it's like, no, actually, when you say you don't have time, and I've done this exercise with people, like in marketplace and in the church, like, well, when you say you don't have time to read the Bible, what do you mean? Like, why? So, like, okay, what time do you wake up? And then
Yeah.
you eat breakfast. Oh, I don't have time. Why? Because I go to the gym. Okay. So then you go into work, and then you have a lunch break. Yeah, what do you do in your lunch break? Blah blah. And then when you get off work, 4 o'clock. Okay, what do you do at four after that? And you end up coming down to everyone's watching Netflix for 3 4 hours a night,
Right.
or the equivalent, and then you start having this conversation, and they're like, and then you say, hey, I want you to do something this week.
Mm.
Every other hour you're awake, write down what you're doing, like time tracking. Just actually don't schedule your day, but like every, set an alarm for every hour, and then every hour you write down what you're doing, and it's like, wow, I did not realize I'm watching at least 2 to 3 episodes a night on X. I was like, well, imagine that. Imagine you picked 4 hours in that week of the 18 hours of TV you're watching, and you picked 4 hours to do. What would you do? And you walk through that exercise 2, 3, 4 weeks, and you're like, oh my gosh, I was just coasting,
Mm.
and there was not a map, and so giving people like this a map, and it can be an eye opener. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's so cool. And I think, it's funny you saying that. So, like, I've been able to put everything that I've learned into my own map, and that's where, when the week's really born. But I think what's really rewarding is when you give people the ability to make their own map, over
Yeah.
time. Like, that's what's really rewarding. And so, I mean, I'm going to have Uh, my next session starting probably in a few weeks here, about 3 weeks or so, and the number one goal of it, I'm going to give them the resource. Here's the map, here's the tools, but I'm trying to make it to where you can like rearrange and edit and change the structure of it. Make this your own thing. It needs to be customized to you. Um, and you can shut things off and turn things back on. It needs to be like super modular in my mind, because them locking it in for something that feels good to them is more important than them following a system that works for me.
Right.
It's not universal, but just the exercise of somebody locking something in is incredibly valuable for them to navigate the nuances of their season. Um, but I was talking to a guy last week. So they're working with youth. Well, it wouldn't be youth, kind of. I guess I'm aging a little bit, but college kids. They're going through and doing some of those college ministries and everything. And he was saying the guy before him had this whole system, this whole process, of how he did things. He taught him, discipled him. Now he took over for this season. And I was like, oh, what do you guys do? And he started breaking down the process that they do. I was like, oh, that's really great. And it just got me thinking of, you know, what are we trying to, when we're discipling somebody, who are we discipling them towards, and what are we discipling them towards? Is it ourself, or is it, to hit the target of Jesus? And if that's the goal, then any tool that they bring to the table, any habit they bring to the table, can be so uniquely geared towards them and their lifestyle. It doesn't matter. As long as it helps them put a spotlight in their life on Jesus, it's going to be wonderful. And so it's just exciting hearing other people's avenues that they've gone through and been discipled in. And that goal is still, that target is still the same. And I don't know. Have you had experiences with people who, because you teach a lot of youth kind of coming up, are you usually the ones kind of giving them those tools and everything and those focuses? Or have you come across some who have maybe taught you some stuff in that regard?
Yeah, I had a mentor that taught me a lot about prioritization, and then I've studied it, and how it really hits the road when you're managing people and you have employees, and you're just like, man, I can't do everything, or I have to delegate. You don't know those words, right? Like, you
Yeah.
just think you got to do everything and then tell everyone what to do, or remind me your 4 things. I do, you do. What do you say? I do, you do.
Oh, the gradual release
Yeah,
responsibility.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
What?
I'm doing, you watch me do.
Yep.
So it's
Yes.
you watch me do, you help me do, I help you do, then I watch you do,
Yeah,
and now
yeah,
you're
yeah.
released.
Yeah, that whole
Yeah.
process of like giving stuff away, giving turfs, you get new turf, and you got, as an organization grows, or people are growing into, all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have a mentor do that, and then, but now when you're talking to kids, right, you can't just like, here's a system, they're like, well, whatever, man. I actually usually start in Psalm 90
Okay.
of reading that. number your days so I can, why? I get a heart of wisdom. Where does wisdom come from? Fear of the Lord. Psalm 119, how do I not sin? Fill up your heart. Out of the overflow of the mouth. So it's more atmospheric, but but preaching, urging the urgency of like, hey, we're all going to die. Manage your days, count your days. Every day matters. Guys, I need you to
Yeah.
really, really consider what you're putting your eyes on and what you're putting your focus and attention on. So of course, it's the conversation about phones, but it's like setting your gaze and pursue the Lord as much as you would pursue this hobby. Or if you were gonna, if you want this girl so bad, you like want a girlfriend so bad you're crying, like, why is that? And what if you wanted the Lord and wanted His thing and wanted to know Him that much? That's kind of hard to connect the dot for a teenage boy, right? But it starts with, hey, what I have found to be effective is like, you guys are all on it. Let's say you four guys. Let's see, my son. There's 4 or 5. There's 5 dudes. 5 of them. They're on a text
Yeah.
thread, right? And they're on a text thread with me, but they're also on a text thread themselves. Like, guys, you guys learn. You guys all love the Lord. You're warm to the Lord. You all are very different. Like, unless the Lord was in this, you guys wouldn't be friends. There's a jock. There's a jock. There's the nerd. There's the fashion boy. There's the skater. There's the, and they're like, oh yeah. So guys, this is a really good relationships, but they like to have fun together. But ask each other hard questions. Be honest with each other. Hold each other accountable. Be each other's teammate. Like when someone's, says a word or is a bit risque, like, call them out on that. Don't put up with that. Keep each other warm to the Lord, and they're like, yeah, digging into we're the cohort. You guys are in this together. Coach each other, because you guys can say things to each other that I can't, right? That I can't say, and count your days. So I think exercises go. A really good exercise is the whole funeral exercise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Write your eulogy. Who's there? Who would you want to be there? Because that forms the person you want to be, or you think you want to be, and just getting them to think about the hours of their day. Guys, basically, you come home from school. You come home from school at 2:30. When you go to bed, 9, 10. Really, 9, 10. No. Oh, okay. I'm turning off the bed at midnight. Okay. So from 3 to midnight, that's 9 hours. Let's say 2 hours for food and a workout. Like, what else you're doing, and just getting them mindful of like, hey, you got 2 to 3 good hours a day that you can dedicate to something. Dedicate something for 2 to 3 hours a day in your high school years. That is a decision. Say these are the, like, playing guitar, making beats. My son makes clothes. Like, decide how you're going to spend 2 to 3 hours of your day working on something that really matters, not just like sit down, checking out your phone, checking out on Netflix, checking out. They don't do Netflix these days, YouTube, whatever it is. Like make a decision and then do those things later. And you have to say it a lot, but it seems like it gets through.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so as we're kind of wrapping up with this, I mean, what would maybe you say if you're trying to encourage somebody who's leading worship, maybe they're new to it, what would be your one thing you would say to them? We talked a lot about what we wish we would say. You kind of asked me a little bit of that same question, but less of like, what do you wish you would have said, but what would you say to that person?
I would say 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Sunday cannot be the only day you make music to the Lord. Make music to the Lord every single day.
Yeah.
With your instrument, with your vocalist, and not making music on the Lord that's administrative. You're rehearsing the set list. It is just sit down with your instrument and just pray. Pray music that is a prayer, and express your heart to the Lord every day on your instrument through the Lord, even if it's 10 minutes every day. And if you do that every day, 10 minutes becomes 15, becomes 20, becomes 25, because when you express your heart on the thing you love, the music, the instrument you love, unto the Lord, in the presence of the Lord, it will grow and grow and grow. That will do more for leading your team and more for leading in your Sundays than like spreadsheet and list and list. It's developing your heart posture and learning how to do it naturally, uncomfortably, that eventually comes out on others and all those around you.
100%. And, you know, I'll add on to that. Guys, when you're doing that, do this too. So play your set if you don't know where to start. Just play your set. Make it a time of practice while you're doing it. But when you're doing it, do exactly what Kris is saying it. Worship. Like, let it be an act of worship when you're doing it. Say those lyrics out loud. Pray them out to the Lord. And then as you're doing that, try to force yourself to take steps and stretch yourself to worship freely and spontaneously throughout that set. And so maybe you don't know what it means to make those spontaneous worship lyrics and stuff, joyful songs to the Lord, and just lift it up. Spiritual songs is the phrase in the New Testament, right? Psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. The spiritual songs is this aspect of it's spontaneous; it's just coming out. And so this idea of just letting it rip, when you're worshiping to the Lord, that's foreign to a lot of us. But do it in your own time. Just practice that. And if all I've got to say is like glory be to God, and I'm just chugging that G chord, like let it happen and just
Yeah.
let it go, and then just go into the next song, like when you feel it's appropriate. But just pray to Him, like just practice that, And when I say practice it, not like rehearsing it, right? But practice is in do it, do the thing,
I would say
and eventually, yeah,
practice
go ahead.
connecting your prayers to the music. So pick,
Yes,
even if you're like,
right.
oh, I'm working out this bridge, or you might have a favorite, man, I really love this intro, or I really love this progression. That's the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Play that. Just play it for 5 minutes without singing.
Yeah.
And you're internalizing it, and then start praying. Pray for your spouse, pray for your mom, pray for your kid. But you don't even have to sing it. If you can sing it, sing the prayer. But if not, just say, my son's name is Ace. Ace, bless Ace, bless Ace, bless Ace, and then bless my mom. I ask for wisdom. And like you just simple, like 2-word prayers over a chorus or a part you're rehearsing, because you're unlocking, you're connecting your prayer brain. I pray with my mind and I pray with my spirit into this dynamic of your hands. And when you're playing a drum, they call it the fifth element. So like you got your 4 limbs, and then the next thing to unlock the independence of all 4 limbs is like you are vocalizing. So you actually count out loud
Yeah.
while you're playing 1, 2, 3, or like la 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 la, and that unlocks your other 4 limbs, so that when you're not doing that, it's internalized. But it's connecting that prayer to your song in a kind of a tangential, low risk way.
Love it. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Kris, for this tonight. Yeah, this was fun. We need to talk more about this stuff. Guys, I'm going to show you next week. I want us to talk a little bit about the Win the Week stuff, some of the projects that Kris and I have been working on. We got that. We got the local worship project. Kris has the barn. I'd like to just give some updates on what's going on with all these projects and just have some fun sharing that, but hearing feedback as well and inviting you into those journeys. And so if you want to be a part of that, let us know. But yeah, let's go ahead and just call it a night for now. So like and subscribe and share this with your friends, and we will